Hi, I'm Jake. I make RPG supplements and videos about Pathfinder 2, or PF2. I love PF2. There's so many ways you can break this system. Not really. There's so many ways that you can play this system. And there's so many creatures you can make. I love ancestries, but I also love archetypes, because they're sort of the bread and butter of this system. At least for creativity purposes. So, Resurgent Maelstrom Magus is what we're talking about today from Rival Academies. It's the Magus that doesn't need any particular weapon in their hand, but can use any weapon. I did not think that this was missing, but it was. It actually was. Because now you can kind of just be a person walking around and pick up anything to fight with. Without having to take Weapon-Improviser. Which is still good, but not necessary. Resurgent Maelstrom Magus. Although ancient texts from the original Monastery of Unbreaking Waves have been discovered, many techniques were passed down from master to student or required physical experience to explain. However, Faydhaans, I'm going to pronounce it that way because it's fun to say. Tell me if it's different. However, Faydhaans were able to share their teachings based on the same ancient traditions. The Resurgent Maelstrom Hybrid Study is one example of this collaboration with specialized arcane techniques that allow a Magus to turn any item in hand into a weapon. Resurgent Maelstrom Hybrid Study, uncommon. While fate may conspire to strip you of your armaments, you're never helpless. For you, anything can be a dangerous weapon, bolstered by the might of towering waves and crushing tides. You know these tools are transient, and so you think nothing of shattering and reforming them with your magic. Your attacks with improvised weapons do not take the normal -2 item penalty. Cool. While you wield an improvised weapon, streams of water flow from your limbs to surround the weapon, granting it the water trait. These improvised weapons have a minimum damage die of 1d6 or 1d4 if the improvised weapon is agile. I would say that if you want to reflavor this as wind or fire, go for it. Why not? Tendrils of fire lap around a weapon to make it hit harder. Effects that apply runes to your unarmed attacks, like Runic Body and Hand Wraps of Mighty Blows, also apply those runes to your non-magical improvised weapons. Magus Monk. Magunks. They're a thing. The improvised weapon also gains an additional trait depending on how many hands it takes to wield. A one-handed improvised weapon gains the Backstabber trait. If it would already have the Backstabber trait, double the amount of additional precision damage. Cool! A two-handed improvised weapon gains the Forceful trait. If it would already have the Forceful trait, treat the number of weapon damage dice the weapon has as one higher for the purpose of calculating the additional damage only. That's neat. I like that. While you're in Arcane Cascade stance, you can manipulate the water around your improvised weapon, making it cut like a knife or bash with the force of falling rocks. The weapon gains the versatile traits for the types of damage that it doesn't normally deal. For instance, an improvised weapon that normally deals bludgeoning damage gains the versatile P and versatile S traits. You can slash with a rock or pierce with a rock. How does that? Doesn't matter. It's cool. Conflux spell. That's neat. I like that. I like this already. If they gain nothing else, I like it. Conflux spell, Turbulent Tide, Studious spells, 7th rank, Water Walk, makes sense, 11th, or not rank, level, sorry, 7th level, Water Walk, 11th level, Aqueous Orb, 13th level, Unfettered Movement. Perfectly on theme for them. Turbulent Tide focus spell has the traits Uncommon, Concentrate, Focus, Magus, Water, everything here is uncommon. Requirements, you're wielding an improvised weapon. I like the improvised weapon idea. Like, you can have an improvised weapon of absolutely anything. You're just Jackie Chan. You're traveling down the road and there's nothing around you. Are there tree limbs, GM? No. Are there rocks? No. Okay. I have a backpack. I'm going to smack him with my backpack and it does piercing damage now. So, Turbulent Tide. Focus spell. You cause the sheath of water and the improvised weapon it surrounds to surge outward with stupendous force as... I should read that again. Turbulent Tide. One action. You cause the sheath of water and the improvised weapon it surrounds to surge outward with stupendous force as you attack. Make a melee strike with your improvised weapon. The weapon then breaks, and each creature adjacent to you must succeed at a fortitude saving throw against your spell DC or be pushed 5 feet away from you, 10 feet under critical failure. You can stride after the target of your strike if they are pushed, but you must move the same distance and in the same direction. This is really cool to get at first level. If the item has a hardness greater than your level, or if it's an artifact, cursed item, or other item that's difficult to break or destroy, it doesn't break and adjacent creatures don't need to attempt fortitude saves. I was wondering how much parity this would have with Weapon-Improviser. Weapon-Improviser, you can smash an item on someone to do extra piercing damage. So in that case, you would have to choose piercing or shoving. You couldn't do both because they're completely different actions. I like the shoving better. Positioning matters a lot in this system. Sort of like Recall Knowledge matters a lot. All right, Magus Feats. Not all of these are just for the Resurgent Maelstrom hybrid study. So, Magus Feats. Between old secrets and the teachings of the Faydhaan scholars, the Magi of the Unbreaking Waves have a number of specialized techniques. Only a few of these are formally integrated into the Resurgent Maelstrom study, while the others are fragments that have less than coalesced into a consistent path. Does that mean more or less coalesced into a consistent path? I'm going to take it as that because it sounds like that's what it means. Maybe this is just a manner of speech I'm not familiar with. Level 2 feat Convergent Tides has the traits Uncommon, Magus, and Water. Prerequisites Arcane Cascade, so it's just a Magus thing. Your footwork is like the convergence of tides, granting your body supernatural power and fluidity. While you're in Arcane Cascade stance, you ignore difficult terrain caused by water, such as walking along a flooded path or swimming in rough water. Or there are spells that cause difficult terrain with rain. It might be wind and rain, but I would say you could use it for this. That's really only for GMs that are going to be using weather and terrain against you, like causing a flood. You really should talk to your GM to find out if that's going to be useful. If it is, it'll be amazing, because you're just dancing on the water. It's impressive, and it saves you movement. Next feat, level 4, Shattering Spellstrike. 2 actions, has the traits Uncommon, Force, Magus. Prerequisites, Resurgent Maelstrom Hybrid Study, Spellstrike. So, 2 different things. Hybrid Study for this, and Spellstrike. Requirements, you're in Arcade Cascade stance and wielding an improvised weapon. You intentionally channel a rampaging cascade of magic through your weapon, breaking it to deal more damage. Make a spell strike against a target with your improvised weapon. If the attack hits, it deals an additional 2d6 force damage as your improvised weapon breaks. That's cool. Like you imbue it with magic and it explodes and the magic inside it hits them in the face. If the spell used with the spell strike wasn't a cantrip or focus spell, increase this additional damage by the spell's rank. Okay, that's cool. Bummer that it can't be a focus spell, but I see why. Then when you actually lose something to do the extra damage. If the item has a hardness greater than your level, or if it's an artifact, cursed item, or other item that's difficult to break or destroy, it doesn't break and you don't deal additional damage. Absolutely worth taking. This matters for this kind of Magus. Shattering Spellstrike. Because it's extra damage. It's sort of a replacement for the Weapon-Improviser's ability to break an item and shatter it and do piercing damage. You do force damage instead. Great. This hybrid study has no reason to take Weapon-Improviser. It is a Weapon-Improviser. Next feat, level 6, Surface Tension. 1 action, has the traits Uncommon, Magus, Water. Prerequisites, Resurgent Maelstrom Hybrid Study. Requirements, you're wielding a broken weapon. You encase the pieces of your broken weapon together with water you pull from the surrounding environment. The weapon's broken condition is temporarily suppressed, and the weapon deals an additional amount of bludgeoning damage equal to twice the number of weapon damage dice. This damage can't be changed to any other type. The weapon also gains the Deadly D8 trait. Wow. If I get that, because it's in shards. It's in pieces that, could go into somebody's eye or lung or something. If the weapon already had the deadly trait, the damage die increases by 1 step or to D8, whichever is higher. The first time you use this weapon to spell strike or get a critical success on an attack with it, the weapon is completely destroyed. If the weapon has a hardness greater than your level, or if it's an artifact, cursed item, or other item that's difficult to break or destroy, it is not destroyed, and this ability only lasts until the end of your turn. Obviously, that's good. It's just extra damage. And that looks really cool. I'm holding this, wall sconce together with just water power. Crosscurrent counter. Level 8 feat, reaction, Uncommon, Magus, Water. Trigger, you become grabbed or restrained by a creature. So this is good for any Magus. Any Magus can take this. So this is if you're grabbed or restrained. You counter the creature with the power of elemental water, a tendril of it encasing your limb or weapon. You attempt an athletics check to grapple the triggering creature, even if it's outside your reach, or you don't have a free hand, because you're using water magic to do it. Cool. So they can be 10 feet away and you can do this. Even if you only have a 5 reach weapon. You know what I mean, a regular weapon. If you succeed, you also remove the triggering condition. which means you're no longer grabbed or restrained. So it removes the grab or restrain, and the tendril of water pulls a creature adjacent to you before dissipating, so you can more easily hit them. Like if they were using a staff to grab or restrain you. Okay, so if they were a dragon or a giant, and they were grabbing or restraining you from like 10, 15 feet away, then you don't have to be within reach of your weapon to do this, and you drag them next to you if you succeed. This is cool! Dude, this is super useful. It helps you get your next athletics check if you want it, which is why you would take this, because you're good at athletics. This is a nice feat. I did not know that this could be here, but it is, and it is a good feat. Yeah, creative. Good choice. Next feat, level 8, Whirlpool's Pull. 1 action. Has the uncommon, concentrated, and Magus traits. Prerequisites, Resurgent Maelstrom hybrid study, so it's just for this hybrid study. You briefly conjure a tendril of water that allows you to grab an improvised weapon and then subsume that water to power your magic. You interact to pick up an unattended object within 15 feet. 15 feet, okay. That you could use as an improvised weapon and then cast a spell that is a cantrip or a conflux spell that takes 1 action to cast. Neat, okay. So it's interesting. So you could use a conflux spell. Well, your conflux spell, because it's the Maelstrom hybrid study, to attack. Or a cantrip that takes 1 action to cast, which there aren't a lot of them. But there are some. This is interesting. Technically, Whirlpool's Pull would work to allow you to use an amped psychic cantrip that takes 1 action to cast, like Warp Step. So you could grab your weapon. You can grab anything near you to use as a weapon if it's within 15 feet. And do something like Warp Step with 1 action. Okay, well, it's handy. It's an option. It's mostly going to be like to get a weapon since you destroyed yours, and not as a quick draw thing. It is action compression, and no matter what, that's good. Is it worth an 8th level feat? It's not going to come up often unless you specifically have built your character to be able to take advantage of that really well. By like having a really good 1 action cantrip or conflux spell. Next feat, level 10, Maelstrom Flow, 1 action uncommon Magus prerequisites, Resurgent Maelstrom hybrid study. Frequency, once per hour. Requirements, you're wielding an improvised weapon, because that's what this hybrid study does. You pour energy into an improvised weapon, speeding its destruction to grant it power. The overloaded energy grants your improvised weapon the effect of the Astral Corrosive Extending or Frost Rune for a minute, after which the item is destroyed. This is a level 10 feat. That's neat. Yeah! Astral is Ghost Touch, plus it does an extra 1d6 spirit damage. It's just cool. These are very useful things. Extending... okay, good. Read the rest of it. All right. After which the item is destroyed. If the item has a hardness greater than your level, or if it's an artifact, cursed item, or other item that's difficult to break or destroy, it is not destroyed, and this ability only lasts until the end of your turn. Okay. That would be disappointing, but it's still cool. It's going to last for a minute with whatever you choose to use. This effect doesn't count against the number of property runes a weapon can have based on its property rune, potency rune, but a given weapon can only have 1 application of Maelstrom Flow at a time. Cool, fine. Those are some useful options. Corrosive does an additional 3d6 damage to a shield that is used to block it, and Frost Rune can slow someone. So that is all of the Magus particular stuff in the Magus section, but there's 2 spells also in the Magus section that are thematically appropriate for this kind of Magus, this hybrid study. But other people can use them too, so I'm going to read them as well. They're called Faydhaan Spells. Faydhaan is just a replacement for Merid. It's water djinn. Developed by Faydhaan genies in the plane of water, these spells are not exclusive to the Monastery of Unbreaking Waves. However, they are widely used by those studying the Resurging Maelstrom. Threefold Limb. First rank spell. Got to get trained. 2 actions. Threefold Limb. It has the traits Uncommon, Attack, Concentrate, Manipulate, Morph, Water. Traditions Arcane Primal. Range, touch, targets 1 creature, defense AC. You temporarily transform one of your limbs into water, taking the form of ice, liquid water, or steam as you desire. Make a melee spell attack roll. I love flexibility like this, so I'm glad they came out with water spells and water hybrid study. On a hit, the target takes 2d6 damage. The type of damage dealt and any additional effect depends on the form you choose. On a critical hit, double the damage. Ice. The limb deals cold damage and the target takes a minus 10-foot status penalty to its speeds until the start of your next turn. This spell gains the cold trait. Liquid water. The limb deals bludgeoning damage and you can reposition the target up to 10 feet. Cool! Because that's just on a critical hit. You don't have to roll athletics like you normally would. You just move them 10 feet in any direction. Steam. The limb deals fire damage and the steam clings to the target, making all creatures concealed to them until the start of your next turn, or they perform an interact action to wave the steam away. That's awesome. This spell gains the fire trait. Heightened. Every rank gets heightened. The damage increases by 2d6. It is only one creature, but it's flexible. And that is key in spell choice. That's a really good, useful, fun spell. Okay, next one. Spell rank 1, Unbroken Panoply. 2 actions, has the traits Uncommon, Concentrate, Manipulate, and Non-Lethal. That's boring. I know. Traditions, Arcane, Occult, Range, Touch, targets one broken weapon that is unattended or held by a willing creature. Duration 1 hour. As tools of violence, undone by violence, broken weapons contain potent symbolic magic that Faydhaans often call upon when forming alliances. Images of similar legendary weapons overlay the target, and the weapon's broken condition is suppressed for the duration. The weapon gains the non-lethal trait during this time. The weapon's wielder can apply the weapon's item bonus to attack rolls and to their diplomacy checks. It does look impressive. I think intimidation would be fine here too. If the weapon would be damaged or broken again, this spell ends. Makes sense, especially since this hybrid study is all about breaking the shit out of your toys. That's it for the hybrid study, but that's not it for all the watery things in this book. There's still the Unbreaking Waves Monk that we're going to go over too. And I have not forgotten about the Rune Lord and all the other stuff in this book. Thank you for being here. If you are a patron, thank you for helping out the channel every month. If you are interested in possibly becoming a patron, you'd have a chance to win stuff like this, these dice. Every month we have a drawing for our patrons that are $5 or higher. Win stuff like that, or like little articulated dragon, or dice tray, or really big fuck off D20. If you would like to see more Rival Academies, playlist is here. If you would like to see my build playlist, it's fun and interesting because stories are cool. I will see you there.